Is America's food supply being sabotaged? Or are we being judged by God and plagued with a future famine? As Michael Snyder details on his Economic Collapse blog, a worldwide drought, mainly in the northern hemisphere, is impacting agricultural production in the US and Europe. And this scarcity of various produce and meat is going to raise food prices in the months and years ahead. In Italy, farmers in some parts of the country have lost up to 80% of their harvest this year, due to the severe drought conditions in the region. In France, where the lack of rainfall has prompted widespread limits on fresh water use, they are experiencing their driest month in recorded history since March of 1961. This is especially impactful on the world's food supply since France is the fourth largest exporter of wheat. In Germany, the most important river, the Rhine, has dropped to dangerously low levels and even dried up completely in some places. Not only does this drop in water affect crop irrigation, but the river is used to transport the vast majority of all goods in and out of Germany, including coal, oil, and most importantly, food. In the Elbe River, hunger stones have reappeared which were used to mark low river levels that would forecast famines in the land. On one stone from 1616 it reads, "If you see me, cry." Here in the US, about half the nation is experiencing some level of drought, but the lack of precipitation is particularly bad in Texas, where the Dallas-Fort Worth area has had no measurable rain for 2 straight months. The lack of water has led many ranchers to panic sell their herds, being unable to water them, which will impact beef prices in the future. Is this just a typical weather cycle where a season of drought comes and goes? Or is this a true climate disaster, as the global warming alarmists would like us to think? And with food prices poised to explode, the question arises, what can we do about it? Will weather modification technology that has the ability to create rain by cloud seeding be brought to the mainstream public at last as a solution to this worldwide drought? China, the UAE, Indonesia, and other nations have already come out of the closet with their cloud seeding technology. So will the US government declassify their own weather manipulating tools to meet this crisis? Or perhaps this weather modification technology is what caused the drought across the world, by prematurely pulling water vapor out of the atmosphere and showering the land with chemtrail-tainted rain. How many decades have governments around the world used these cloud seeding agents? Chemical compounds made from aluminum, barium, potassium iodide, solid carbon dioxide, and various salt compounds. Aside from farmers and ranchers losing a large percentage of their products due to a lack of rainwater, food processing plants across the US have been mysteriously bursting into flames or shutting down, further fueling the food crisis caused by the drought. Starting in 2021, the uptick in disruptions at food processing facilities began, and today, the number stands well over 100 incidents that led to the shutdown of significant production. Starting in 2022, there was a shutdown at least once a week. These incidents destroyed, damaged, or impacted food processing facilities indefinitely, either by fires, diseases, or an assortment of accidents, like plane crashes. These incidents ceased beef and pork packing plants, milk parlors, egg farms, fertilizer plants, various produce packing and processing facilities, and an assortment of farms for turkeys, ducks, and chickens have been culled. Millions of animals killed for outbreaks of bird flu. Massive corporations like General Mills, Kellogg, Nestle, Walmart, Smithfield, JBS, and Purina have also shut down production. Have we been slated for starvation? Or are we being backed into a corner so we accept the terms of the New World Order's Great Reset agenda? Although we're armed with a powerful military and the Second Amendment to protect ourselves from an invasion or a tyrannical government, is food the weapon being used against us? Just like Henry Kissinger said, who controls the food supply controls the people.
A new Bloomberg report exposed that food costs are rising uncontrollably all across America, reaching the highest level since May 1979. New data shows that the food index jumped 10.9% over the last year, marking the largest 12-month increase in 43 years. But many grocery store items have seen prices rise even faster. The Food at Home Index rose 13.1% over the last 12 months. That is the largest 12-month increase since the period ending March 1979. The Bureau of Labor Statistics pointed out the index for other food at home rose 15.8%, and the index for cereals and bakery products increased 15% over the year. The remaining major grocery store food groups posted increases ranging from 9.3%, fruits and vegetables to 14.9%. Dairy and related products. Those increases are absolutely shocking. A few years back, American consumers could actually fill up an entire shopping cart full of food for less than $30. Now, every time they visit the grocery store, they end up spending a larger share of their budgets just to purchase the same amount of products. In the old days, eggs were a fairly inexpensive option, especially for those who couldn't afford meat or other protein-rich foods. But inflation is wreaking havoc on the breakfast table, with egg prices at grocery stores soaring a whopping 47% in July over last year, according to retail analytics firm Information Resources Inc. 47% in 1 year. That's absolutely crazy. One of the main drivers of that stunning price spike is the bird flu epidemic that has decimated egg-laying chick flocks all around the nation in the past year. In fact, ranchers say that this was one of the worst bird flu outbreaks in U.S. history, killing more than 30 million commercial and wild birds. The crisis hurt angling hens and turkeys the most. Higher summer temperatures have eased the outbreak, poultry farmers say. But that doesn't mean prices are going down anytime soon. Bird flu seems to be in the rearview mirror for now with the change in temperatures. Stephens Inc. analyst Ben Bienvenu said in a note, now the industry grapples with substantial supply shortages resulting in record high prices for eggs. On top of that, the merger of two top chicken companies with a third to control 15% of the chicken market means that low-cost chicken and eggs could be a thing in the past. Forbes exposed that now the top 4 competitors have a 60% market share, further pushing up lower-level farms and obtaining a larger control over national prices. Of course, eggs aren't the only item seeing explosive price increases. Butter saw a 26.3% increase from last year. Bread prices climbed 15%. Frozen meals were 23% more expensive. That data from BLS. During an interview with Fox's Businesses, consumers expressed their growing frustration. It's getting harder and harder to afford to live in this country, said one of them. Wow, said one man who approached the display and walked away empty. Another shopper picked up a package of eggs and shook her head, saying, unfortunately, I have to buy this. I need it. Sadly, acute price increases like this will become more common as we head towards the end of the year. The U.S. food supply chain is facing a series of problems, and many other issues have combined to create a perfect storm for global food production. This also means that food inflation is here to stay. United Nations experts warned earlier this month that global food prices are going to be substantially higher in 2023 because food production all over the planet will be way below expectations in the months ahead. If only our paychecks were rising at the same pace as the price of consumer goods, we would be able to handle those increases. But that is not happening at all. Don't forget to hit the bell to always get our notifications, and please share this message with friends and family.